General Motors announced Monday it's planning to fork out millions of dollars to victims and families who were affected by the company's faulty ignition switches in some of its cars.
The company's CEO, Mary Barra, says there will not be a cap on payments. GM says there were at least 54 crashes related to this and 13 deaths linked to those faulty switches.
News broke earlier this year that the company knew about the faulty ignition switches for more than a decade. The fault can cause cars to shut down while driving, disabling anti-lock brakes, power steering, and even airbags. GM hired prominent compensation attorney Kenneth Feinberg to lay out the plan and allocate the funding. Again, there is no compensation cap. However, there are 3 categories for victims, and these will help determine how much money will be handed out in each case. The first is eligible death claims. Second, eligible catastrophic injuries such as burns or quadriplegia. And lastly, less severe injuries that required medical treatment within 48 hours of the accident. The program is entirely voluntary, and as long as the vehicle involved in the incident was faulty, a claim can be filed. But if victims and their families decide to settle with GM, they cannot sue the company in the future.
If it's an eligible vehicle, the airbag did not deploy with a driver. Driver, passenger, pedestrian, occupant of another vehicle, where the airbag might have deployed.
The company is only looking at how the faulty cars played a role and not considering contributory negligence, which would include things like texting, speeding, or drinking and driving. The issue has really taken a monetary toll on the company. In May, GM was ordered to pay $35 million to federal auto safety regulators, the maximum allowed by law. A number of lawsuits have also been filed against the company by victims, shareholders, and other GM vehicle drivers. GM began recalling vehicles in February. The Washington Post notes the company has issued over 54 recalls this year. More than 28 million vehicles were involved in those recalls worldwide. Those numbers include an additional 8.45 million more recalls announced Monday.
Money is a pretty poor substitute for loss. It's the limits of what we can do. Unfortunately, we can't bring people back. We can't restore limbs. It's the best we can do.
The fund will begin accepting claims on August 1st. GM also noted people who have already come to a settlement with GM may also file for the compensation package. For Newsy, I'm Jasmine Bailey.